And, whoa, look at Magoo. Magoo streaks into the...
Thorpe's got basketballs. They lock handlebars as they go through, but Thorpe's done.
Here comes Bradshaw to the outside of Bale. He takes over the number 2 position, and Bradshaw is not done.
Welcome, Motocross History team. Today I'm going to show you an interview that I found with Damon Bradshaw regarding his experience and his time on the 1991 Yamaha wide ratio 500. Now, the wide ratio 500 was based on earlier models of the YZ490 that had been since made obsolete, and Yamaha has a long history of trying to make their 500s competitive, going all the way back to the 1987-88 YZM 500 project that lasted for 2 years and then was scrapped. A couple years later, in the end of 91, they came out with the wide ratio 500 that was supposed to be an off-road bike, overall, trail, desert, all that kind of stuff. But Yamaha actually made a competitive version of it for the 1991 500 national season, and it was the motocross version of the wide ratio 500. In this interview, Damon Bradshaw goes into a couple details of what it was like to race that bike during that season, and a little bit of what made him decide to actually enter that 500 national series in 1991. Yamaha, because they didn't have officially a 500 bike in 1991, the factory Yamaha riders at the time, like Bradshaw, Doug Dubach, had the option to fall in on the 125 class after the 250 Outdoor National Series was wrapped up. Damon Bradshaw hated the YZ125 and did not want to ride it, and so that helped him make this decision. Another thing that helped him make the decision, which makes me just absolutely love Damon Bradshaw, was in his mind he knew that it was no secret this was an outdated bike, and even though it was brand new, it was based on outdated research and technology, and because of that, Bradshaw thought, hey, if I can get on the starting line and race this outdated pig and beat the best in the world on the hardest tracks in the world, and we're talking during that time, Jeff Ward won 2 500 national championships in a row, was getting ready to defend his title for a third time. Jean-Michel Bale was on fire, had won the 250 Supercross and the 250 Outdoor Series that year in 1991, and really wanted to race the 500 class. And little kind of secret that JMB had kept to himself, I think he was the most talented of all the displacements. He was the most talented on the 500. And then you had Jeff Stanton, who was just licking his chops, who had won so many times on the 250 and on the 250s and had his titles. The only thing he was missing in his trophy case was a 500 national title. And so you had those 3 guys that were chasing the championship. In addition, you had throw in Damon Bradshaw with this WR500 pig, and on top of that, Ronnie Lachine was coming back from a 1.5 year hiatus after breaking his femur at the end of '89. And so you had a bunch of people in the mix here that were going after this 500 national title. And so Damon Bradshaw, which is such a great mind of a champion, was like, yes, I'm going to be the underdog. I'm going to have outdated equipment. Put me on that thing and I'll beat people, and I'll shove it in their face of how I beat them. I may not win a championship, but if I win just one moto, I can just throw it in their faces as to, hey, look what I was on, and I still beat you. Anyway, if I'm off on anything, or if you guys have any comments, let me know. Let me know what you guys think about the wide ratio 500, and enjoy.
With you on that 500, because that summer of '91 you rode the 500. That air hammer. Did you ever see that thing?
No.
Oh God, I'll pull a picture up here and take a break.
It's probably not as good as the thing you rode at the vintage race, but
74 YZ.
No.
He's racing the 500 Nationals on an air-cooled Yamaha 490.
Oh, there was one out at Moto Fight Club, wasn't there? There was a 490 there?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a WR. It was a wide ratio. So it was
wide ratio.
It was supposed to be an off-road bike because the tank was like a Valdez tanker, but No, it's good. I'm glad I got to do that. That was always good.
Didn't that one ping really bad? Didn't that one detonate?
Yeah, and it would lose power, which was good because you needed it. You needed it too, and it was fast. It was just the geometry and the suspension was a little brutal, and you couldn't. We couldn't change the gas tank, but the Hondas and the Cowies were superior at that time. But that was the cool thing about riding it, and that's the whole reason I wanted to do it, because I'm like, if I don't ride this thing this year, probably never going to get a chance to ride a 500. And so, and I did, and it was fun.
You did pretty damn well.
Yeah, we did pretty good. I mean, a lot of guys did well on that bike. You know, I mean, Dubach rode it. I'm not sure if it was Eric Eaton or Eaton. He rode the bike. That was the same bike that Stanton rode at Amateur Nationals when I always like to make the comment of that I watched Brock Glover ride that same bike when I was in a stroller. And it was the same bike.
Not too far off from the truth.
No, I mean, he has had drum brakes, mine had disc brake, but there wasn't a whole lot of difference in the motor and the frame.
You've heard of taking a knife to a gunfight. This was like taking a spork from KFC to a gunfight. My man did work on it.
Yeah, it was.
How was the vibration?
She vibrated. She vibrated. And that year, Wardy was, I mean, obviously great, but his bike was just awesome. I remember talking.
You ever tried to hold on to a paint shaker down at Home Depot? It's kind of like that. Similar.
Oh man. And then
did you ever ride Wardy or any of those other guys' factory 500s?
No, I did get to ride a Honda and a Kawasaki, but I was probably 12 or 13. Oh. I rode it at the guy that built my engines back on mini bikes in North Carolina, Bars Competition. Yeah. They had one there, and I got to ride them. That was the coolest thing ever. I mean, I was 12 or 13 years old riding.
Not a factory one though.
But I didn't get to ride any of the later ones. But even then, the Cowie 500 was so good. It was easier to ride even than the Honda. And I remember Stanton telling me those years that they actually would detune the thing to make it more rideable. So
that's crazy.
But good times. So we had nothing for the 500 because that thing was a trail bike now, more or less.
Yeah.
And but I think they pulled some. I don't remember. I remember them throwing around the weight of almost 16 pounds that they were able to take off the bike just from stuff that didn't really need to be on there. And it was pretty
trail version.
This kickstand mount we can pull.
Yeah. I think it's
headlight, tail light.
So it was still a cool bike, and like I said, it was plenty fast enough. And as it detuned, your body was detuning as well. But
yeah.
Just
the handling was the biggest, you would say?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it just, I remember being in corners with ruts and bumps, and it was just, it hurt.
Tough. Yeah,
it hurt.
Yeah.
But then again, I felt like I was riding this bike that wasn't up to par, so it was just like you had the smile on your face the whole time riding it.
And again, probably took some pressure off. Like,
it did.
If I can kick their ass, I beat them on this.
Yep,
and
exactly.
If they beat me, well, you probably should have.
Right. No, exactly. It was that whole pressure thing. And I think we won a moto at Binghamton.
Okay.
I don't know if we got second on the day. I think Wardy won the overall, which he won a lot of them that year. Again, his bike was good, which Stanton was on Honda and Bale was on Honda.
Yeah, I mean, those bikes were pretty legit.
Yeah.